We are, hello, hello. Welcome. Come on in. Come on into the room. Welcome, welcome. My name is Sacred Walker. I'm here today with this very special guest, Miles, who is one of the top contributors on our Everyday Superheroes talk show, as well as a recent recipient of the Everyday Superheroes Award that we kicked off this past year. So I'm so excited to have you here. I'm going to introduce the show and then pass the mic to you because what we did was we actually took survey of individuals around the world. We gathered our testimonials together over the last decade, and we saw that there were some questions that sometimes come up that we wanted to make sure we took a moment to just address them now. And so I'm going to, invite Miles in a moment to share those questions. And we're just going to have an open conversation. And if you have a question, if you feel like it's off key or you don't know if it's okay to ask, is it okay to ask, Miles?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Ask away. So you comment below, ask the questions, and then we'll draw those questions, gather them, and then do a follow-up to one of these. So no questions are off limits unless you're asking a question that is a little inappropriate, then I will go ahead to the next question. But as long as you are asking a question to support your upliftment, improving your quality of life while you level up, I'm here. A little bit about our mission, and then a little bit about we're going to have a special treat for you at the end. So our mission is that over the last decade, we have empowered visionary women of color and executives and as well everyday superheroes of all the walks of life through what I call your 2.0 season. So you're going through change, you're navigating something new, or you're ready to reconnect to your purpose and your calling again. And you want to make sure that your inner critic, your imposter syndrome, inconsistent habits, and sometimes even inner childhood things that have come up that you have to navigate through do not block your shine. And we have been supporting leaders to create their lasting legacy for well over a decade now. We're about to celebrate our anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we really wanted to make sure that you put your self-love, self-care, and success front and center as you manifest your fiercest destiny. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss any questions that come up because sometimes we speak broadly and we want to make sure we hunker down and get to you. And then at the very end, you'll get an opportunity to hear something special we have coming up. So do stay tuned until the very end. All right, so I'll pass the mic to you, Miles. Thanks so much for doing this with us today.
Thanks, Sacred. It's great to be here and talk about some of the amazing work you're doing. Let's get started with some of the questions that I have.
Okay.
All right, Sacred. We've heard from clients who have overcome chronic pain through your holistic approach. How would you make someone whose body's in pain feel better? What would you do for them?
That's a very good question. And that's a common question. I'm glad that you kind of pulled it out. So that's something that comes up. I would say for the last several years when it was just me working in the practice, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to speak to that. And then I'll speak to the things that our team now can do, right? Because I don't act in isolation at all. So what we often don't know, did you know that there are times, I think about 90% of the time you go to the doctor and you feel like something aching you, your foot's hurting, your stomach's hurting, your knees hurting. Did you know that 90% of the time you go to the doctor, they oftentimes say that they actually don't know the root cause or the reason behind it? Did you know that? 90%. 90%.
Wow.
So I have found that there are illnesses, especially impacting people who look like me, people of African descent, that are grounded in stress. And so I had a client, for example, that for the longest time had this intense stomach ache. She reached out. She, at the time, was working in real estate. She was a broker, powerful, impactful person. She didn't really quite feel like she was doing what she was called to do, but look, cover the bills. And you know how that is. She was juggling things. Her mom was getting older. And she just really felt like, you know what? I need to focus right now on mom. She took care of me. I need to take care of her. But she had this nagging stomach ache. It would not quit. She ate. She couldn't hold food down. She wanted to get on diets. And then she wanted to go to the doctor again and again. And they just kept saying, you don't know what to do. We started working together. And because I learned tools from what I drew from India, as well as from what I studied through indigenous practices, as well as a mental health therapist, We got to the bottom of what was going on in her stomach. She was having a hard time digesting how she was being treated by her supervisor. She did not feel part of the team. Now, you would think, what does one have to do with the other?
Exactly.
My belly is hurting me, but at the same time, I'm worrying at work. What did it have to do with the other? What was happening and the way the body works is when I get stressed out, my body creates extra cortisol. It's trying to protect me. It's going into survival mode. It's like, imagine if you're running through the forest at top speed because you're trying to get away from something that's chasing you. You're just going to stop and go, I need to go get a latte. All your systems are going to shut down and you're going to be in flight mode, running, running, running. So her stomach was feeling clenched because it was going into that same stressed, got to get away. But she couldn't get away because she had to go to work every day.
My goodness.
Exactly. So what we found was in helping her to find her voice back again, not only that, but also navigate, is this the team that she wants to work with? She was able to navigate finding a new team. Later on, she discovered her true purpose was she was actually feeling called to make an impact through travel. Today, she no longer has a stomach ache. Today, she is now a flight attendant. She switched careers. She's able to make more money in this new role because of the way she positioned herself as a senior leader with my support. And now she's not only taking care of her mom, but she has the resources to do much more than she expected. So, yeah, it started out as a stomach ache, but it hit so much more.
That's amazing.
It was powerful to see, but once again, she took her time and did the work because she saw the benefit of the mind, body, spirit approach.
That's good. That's some good information there.
It was helpful. It was helpful for her. And hopefully whoever's listening, you can remember if maybe there's something more to that stomach ache, that migraine, that knee pain, that maybe someone who comes in with a holistic approach like us can help with.
Nice. All right. It's great. It's great information. All right, we're going to move on to our next question. All right. What is mental health and how does understanding help people who are always busy with their careers and personal life? I'm sure you must get this a lot.
Okay, so let's start with the first part. What is mental health? Okay. See, this is a tricky one because let me tell you what I thought mental health was when I first heard about it before I became a mental health practitioner. Okay?
Sure.
And then I can tell you what is mental health.
Sure.
Okay? So when I first, because I did not understand culturally as a Jamaican woman, there are plenty of Jamaican psychologists, right? However, I did not grow up with an understanding of what mental health was. I had to go through things in my family to understand it. I thought growing up, which I respect still, mental health was when your mind was impacted spiritually. Like that's what culturally, when I grew up learning, the spirit, the negative energy is bothering you. Especially Christian household, we always was calling things the devil. The devil is bothering you. Pray it out. Pray out the depression. Pray out the anxiety. Pray out, the PTSD. Pray it out. And I love the power of prayer, but I thought, well, if you're going through something, you didn't pray hard enough. I didn't really know, and that was, anything more than that. And what I understand mental health to be today is that first of all, we all have a mind. And we all need to take care of our mind. And there are times where our mind holds a lot because we've gone through things in life, sometimes internally, sometimes something was done to us that wasn't okay. And our mind is trying to make sense of it. So mental health is the mind trying to understand how we can take care of it. And sometimes creating thoughts that work for us. Sometimes thoughts that don't help us so that we can be who we are. And so mental health is literally trying to make sure that the health of your mind is okay or well enough to do what you've been called to do. That's how I see mental health. Now that's different than feeling like I'm never doing enough to have mental health, right? The first one was very guilt-ridden. It's like, well, I must have done something that invited in the devil because the devil keeps telling me to do this, this, and this in my brain.
Right. So many people can experience that.
Exactly. Absolutely. Once again, spiritually, I respect that there are times where your mind, you don't know where your negative thoughts are coming from. which is why we create ways for you to transform your thoughts while still staying rooted in your spirituality, because we don't want to dismiss that your faith helped you get here and overcome some steps.
Sure, sure.
But we want to make sure you also take care of your mind that takes you things that may be real and not always real. And it will help you be the best person.
Sounds good.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah. Can you explain what self-love means and why it's important for personal growth and empowerment?
Absolutely. And that definitely also ties back into, the professional. So we spend about the majority of our lives at work, right? If we're spending 40-hour work weeks, we're feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes we're feeling spread thin. A lot of the people who come who reach out, they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm pouring a lot of my energy and time into work. I want to feel like, when I'm not working, I feel like I can exhale, I can feel lighter, I can feel fulfilled. And self-love is when you feel like when you're at work,
Mhm.
you feel like you're purposeful. You feel fulfilled and, okay, I'm doing something that matters to me.
Mhm.
And when you are not at work, that you can be able to appreciate all of who you are 100%. And I have found that the clients that have reached out
Mhm.
at times, either based on family or maybe them being overachievers or feeling underestimated, have had someone that questioned their worth and affected their ability to love all of themselves. So it's almost like, you ever had like, you ever moved before?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
I've recently moved.
You recently moved.
Yes.
So, okay. Yeah. Okay. So when the movers moved your things, did everything show up perfect?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Give me an example of a time that something did not show up.
Oh.
You left one place and you come to another place and a new thing
Oh.
did not look the way it started.
Absolutely. I could just take for an example, they said my stuff was going to be delivered by a certain date,
Mhm.
and it wound up being 2 weeks later than what it originally had been offered, the date that was originally offered to me. So
Mhm.
it took me out of sorts a little bit,
Mhm.
just trying to gather my bearings, knowing that one thing was supposed to be this date,
Mhm.
and it didn't arrive until the next day.
Absolutely. And so now it's delayed. So then now that's oh my gosh, okay, I was expecting one thing. And then it changed, right? So there's navigation of expectation. And then when the things arrived, did all of your items come in perfect condition?
Absolutely.
Talk to me.
Unfortunately, things get broken in the midst of travel, things get lost in the midst of travel. Uh, a screw was missing, a piece of furniture was chipped,
Mhm.
a piece of furniture might have been broken,
Look at this. Look at
might have been, now it's tilting a little bit where it was standing up straight. So yeah, it does have its challenges, to say the least.
to say the least.
Mhm.
So life comes with challenges.
Yes.
So let's imagine now that life is like that. So firstly, there might be someone who's tuning in. There are folks who've reached out who have literally said, I was expecting to have been able to started traveling or started that new business on this date. And then life's bumps came along and all of a sudden it's days, weeks, years later, and I still didn't accomplish that thing. What is that about?
Mhm.
And feeling like they have to have those resources, those tools, and that mentor, coach, or therapist to say, you know what? Just because you didn't accomplish it on the first date and it threw off your clock,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you can't be the time that's your time,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't mean that it's too late to go after what you want, but you might have started telling yourself, oh my God, this thing is delayed.
Mhm.
Are you serious? Because that's sometimes what we tell ourselves.
Mhm.
Same thing with the box. Oh, we see something trying to fly and get us. Not today. Not today or tomorrow. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I'm back. Okay. So same thing with the box, right? Okay. Life sometimes has its bumps.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe you had an intention of having it come in its perfect condition. Self-love is that you got that lamp in a different condition that it started because it went through some stuff.
Mm.
And other people might have handled it well, but other people might have mishandled your things, your stuff, your story, how you showed up, right? Self-love is on the other side, seeing a chip in that lamp, seeing the chip in the lamp of your life, but still embracing that it hasn't stopped being a lamp, right? Okay, you got a chip. It's not quite shining as bright. Okay, cool. So let me talk to this therapist and replace my light bulb and screw it in tight and get myself going again. But I'm still alive.
Yes.
I'm still able to do what I've been called to do.
Nice.
Exactly. So sometimes people forget, like, on the other side of the movement of your life, getting help doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you strong because you can love yourself on the other side of that move. And I'm sure that those people got a word or two from you when they master their stuff. Let's be clear.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
You can still speak up, but that's how it's, if we can think of it that way, that can be helpful.
Oh, that's great. Wow. That's really good. That is really good. I appreciate that.
Sure.
What does wealthy mean? And how does it relate to improving our mental and physical well-being?
Absolutely.
And I see you says wealthy,
Mhm.
but you spelled the WELLTHY.
Exactly.
Not like wealthy, like the money,
hmm
but you put wealthy. What does that mean?
Okay, that's a good question. So when I talk about wealthy, I'm talking about a combination of well-being and wealth, right? This is very important. What I've brought together is a team of amazing practitioners who touch in on many different aspects of what I've seen clients request again and again over the years to support what I'm now launching, which is called the Wealthy Women Series. Okay. And what that is about is helping you to really look at, all right, I want maybe to transform my nutrition. We now have a health psychologist who supports you to eat better, make sure you feel good in your body, making sure that you, if you have a certain health code, you could feel good about it because that is her focus. That's her expertise. So your wealthiest self, we want to make sure that you're going after that money, you leveling up, you snatching that bag. Excellent, right? As you rise in leadership, we want you to go after it. But we also want to make sure that you feel well while you're getting there, right? Whereas we have someone else, amazing male in the world, amazing LGBT affirming male who has a faith-based executive coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you want to create some strategies. You want to be held accountable to what you said. You want some foundation to have that business for yourself. You want to turn your side hustle into that maid squeeze. Come on, we got you, right? So we want you to grab that bag, go after the calling, make sure that you get more money because you deserve to have a comfortable lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, we want to make sure that your mindset is on peak. Mm. We want to make sure you're clear. We want to make sure that your spirit is taken care of, right? Mm-hmm. That's soul care.
So it sounds like your mind and body working together.
Your mind, your body, your soul working together. And now I call that righteous money.
I like that.
You know, I don't want to feel guilty about how I'm making my money. Yeah, okay, I want to do exactly. Right. So holding space for you, you come in, you say, okay, this is what I'm moving through. And then I match you with an amazing provider that I have hand selected to really boutiquely cater to what you're navigating because we're going to go level up together.
Nice. All right. All right. Wow, this is some good stuff already. Mm-hmm. All right. So I have a couple more questions for you. How would you define anxiety? And what simple strategies can people use to manage it? Now, I know I suffer from anxiety myself, so that might be something, a good tool for me that I can take away today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a tool to a tool, okay? Because I can appreciate as someone who has been able to be in a relationship with my anxiety and also look at how anxiety can keep us stuck sometimes, how we can move it into action. One of the things that I have found with anxiety is that sometimes anxiety can really have us going into overthinking mode because anxiety can become our friend if we're see it this way. And I'm going to tell you why. What anxiety is actually having us do is, so right now we're sitting out, we're hanging out on a patio, okay? All right, cool. So say, for example, just a couple of minutes ago, somebody let a bear into the house. Right? Let a bear into the house, let a bear through the office, and the bear was just running around and charging at everything. How would you feel about opening that door?
Absolutely not.
Excuse me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Smokey Bear. I was into Smokey Bear. Did you catch Smokey the Bear when you were?
I love Smokey.
There we go. So that was a friendly bear.
Right.
said the bear was ravaging through the house, through the office, doing all the things, right?
Mhm.
So now anxiety is the bear is gone. Now, just to give an example, the bear, you think the bear is gone. Would you have some hesitation to open that door?
Absolutely.
Okay. But even if the bear is gone, the bear could come back, the bear is gone. But in your mind, you're like a little bit hesitant, right, to reach for the door.
Mhm.
Okay. So we think of it as anxiety is similar to that. The bear is gone.
Mhm.
That experience we had is gone.
Mhm.
That moment in time is gone. What we navigated in the past is gone. But the body is bracing itself as if the bear is still in the room. So all we're doing now is I'm remembering that the bear that was there, I'm working through with a therapist, a coach, a mentor to remember the bear that was there that impacted me is gone. But there's something bracing me because my body is protecting itself. It's having anxiety of like, oh my gosh, something is about to come. So usually people have these two biggest things that causes anxiety. Worry about the future, what's going to happen. Oh my gosh, that bear's going to get me again.
So many of us do.
Exactly. Number one thing. Or reminiscing about the past. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, did differently. Because if I did this, I wouldn't have experienced this kind of pain.
Right.
Right? Oh my gosh, maybe if I didn't forget the front door open, the bear would have come and ravaged through my stuff. Or maybe the bear actually found its way in and we were not responsible for it, or was responsible how to prepare for going back in. Right? So what I would highly recommend, and it's something that we started doing and we're going to be doing in our 21-day challenge.
Okay.
That I'll talk about in a moment. Right? And I want to share with you, but I know you have some more questions, but I want to share with you
Sure.
is that really bringing in a moment where we gather evidence.
Talk about
Gather evidence means when I reach for the door, I take a deep breath in 4 times. I exhale 3 times. And I gather evidence. Gather evidence means I do 1 to 2 examples in my mind of the bear was just there, right? The bear was just there. No, you want to keep me safe, mind. The bear was just there. The bear is not there anymore. I can handle this. But you have to gather evidence. Have I faced any bears in my past?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really anxiety. Anxiety is like, oh, I've been through this. I don't want to go through this again. Brace myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So then I gather evidence. All right. The bear is not there. I faced the bear before. I can handle this. Right? And you remind yourself, okay, the last time, have you ever had an experience with an animal, a dog, or any animal that was uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can remind yourself, like, okay, I handled this animal before.
Mm-hmm.
I can handle this again because the body is just wanting you to tell it, I got your back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you breathe in on 4, exhale on 3, and you remind yourself, okay, thank you for keeping me safe. All right, the bear is gone now. But if it returns, I've handled bears before and I can handle this again.
So it's that reminding yourself.
Exactly. And so I'm training my brain to think differently about how it survives.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 21-day challenge that we have coming up, we will literally be practicing daily mindfulness. So by the end of the time together, you're going to be transforming them thoughts on a whole different level. All of a sudden, the bear's going to be like, oh, this is too much trouble. I ain't coming back into this office. No, I'm not trying that door.
All right. So I see you mentioned the 21-day challenge. Is the 21-day challenge designed for a specific type of person, or can anyone benefit from it?
That's a very good question. So for this go around, we are catering it to people who move in the world like me as a visionary woman of color.
Okay.
I'm excited about the fact that we have a Kamala running for 2024 in the office.
That's right.
I feel like this is the season of reinvention. Mm-hmm. So for this go around, we will be focusing in on tools, language that are catered to visionary women of color. And I recognize that they're everyday superheroes that show up. Mm-hmm. Right? So in Piece to Profit, in this 21-day challenge, the focus will be on how can you show up as the best version of yourself? And how can you accomplish one focused goal without one thing getting in your way? And we're going to be super intentional for 21 days.
Okay.
And let me tell you right now, the power of manifesting a focused and intentional goal in the circle of your sisters
Mhm.
and the circle of folks. Let me be clear. Folks who are more about their goals than gossip.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
All right. I like
This
that.
is how we're gonna be glowing up together.
All right. I like that. They say you do something for 21 days becomes a habit.
Exactly. And
So-
that's what my book is about. And I've turned it now into a challenge about how you can create those consistent habits that encourage and clarity so you can soar.
Nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. How can participants use the 21-day challenge to discover and strengthen what they're passionate about?
That's a good question. So
Mhm.
from the beginning, we're going to do some inner exploration. We're all going to come together from the beginning to get super clear on what it is that you're passionate about. Because sometimes you can get caught up in the flurry of life. All of a sudden, life is life in, someone's pulling on you, you might be needed. And so just getting clear on what are you passionate about and what are you declaring? From the beginning, we are declaring to, whether you are declaring to your ancestors, Jesus, Goddess, universe, whoever you are declaring it to, we are going to kick off with that.
Okay.
And from there, I will be supporting you and guiding you on getting clear again for not only what is your purpose, but what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
What
is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we doing that from the beginning? So we're going to really polish and get that clear.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to do some hard facing because we also going to look at what's getting in the way of that passion, right?
That's
What's
right.
getting, because we can't help you glow up if you are stuck in guilt or lack of gratitude. And so we're really going to be that polishing support system for you.
Taking the car neutral,
taking it and putting it into drive, baby, and getting it on the road. And while you're there along the way, we will have additional supports to wrap you up in our love in the form of our team, right? To really help you to get clear.
Right. What kind of community support can participants expect from the 21-day challenge, and why is this so valuable?
You know what? Experience and from the folks who I've been fortunate to hold space for, the higher up you go, it can be lonely at the time.
Yes, it can.
It can. And we see less and less of folks who move, love, and live like us. And so I'm going to support women to be wild, right? To be inspired to live, love, and lead dynamically, the way that we had a recent retreat that was called the Wild Retreat. That's what I'm committed to, right? Now, the catch-22 about that and why is it so important is that we come from a long line of folks who need to heal in community. But sometimes when, I'm not going to lie to you, I've been in some community circles that were chatty Kathy, cutting, nasty, undercutting. I am forming a founders class.
Okay.
For me, it's about, we're going to talk to you up front. What do you stand for? What are you about? What are your principles? Supporting you to embody them. So we are going to be very intentional with the community that we're bringing together. And so if you hop over to everydaysuperheroescoaching.com/coaching, you can go ahead and fill out the questionnaire so that you can be one of the first to hear about when it launches, so that you can be added to our waiting list and get the announcement, because we're going to be answering more questions. But it is so important for you to not move in isolation, because sometimes when things happen to us and we feel like our box has been rattled, we're like, you know what, bump it. I'm going to do my own thing, which is cool.
Okay.
Do your own thing. And how much stronger would you be if you had a whole circle of cheerleaders behind you?
That makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
A big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. All right. How does the 21-day challenge help people set and achieve their personal and professional goals? Someone like me, what kind of advice would you give someone in this 21-day challenge? What does it do?
Absolutely. So what would you say is something that when you take a step back, you are ready to shift? You're like, you know what? This is what I want to do more. Is it I want to do more traveling? Is it that I want to touch more lives? What is it that that excites you, that would bring you a sense of, I want to take care of myself by doing this more? What would be your answer?
I would love to balance my work-life balance. I work a lot, and sometimes I work more than I relax it. So I would love at some point to be able to work an 8-hour shift and close the computer after 8 hours instead of staying on for additional 4 hours at a time. So I have to learn how to shift that. That's one of my biggest challenges.
I can hear that. I can hear that. So I call that work-life fulfillment, right? Because there's always something that can get on your plate that's going to make the life feel like it's out of kilter, out of balance. So we had a client that said something similar, a member that reached out. And she was like, look, I love my business. I love the fact that I help build brands and beauty brands, but I feel like I pour so much of my time and energy, and I would love to be able to just put my feet up on somebody's ocean and drink a Mai Tai and exhale. And I really want that to create a shift. So one of the things that we have built into this 21-day challenge is to begin to look at not only your time, but look at how am I relating to my time in a way that's worthy? How can I take the hour? How would I treat my hour differently if I saw my hour as a certain premium higher rate? How am I showing up in wealth? How am I embodying wealth in my relationship to my time? Because there are times where we might be pouring our energy into one thing, but there's an action that we actually want to go after or could go after that would actually create the ideal lifestyle we want. So we will be trust and believe, and we have an organizational psychologist who is a productivity master, who's a part of our team that's going to be helping you get to where you want to go. So we got you. We got you. We're about to unleash some things.
All right.
On 21 days and beyond.
That sounds amazing, especially from someone like me, and I'm sure that other people out there who are probably challenged with the same thing.
Absolutely. It's not an isolated thing, which is why we said hop on over to everydaysuperheroescoaching.com. That's everydaysuperheroescoaching.com/coaching. Hop on in, join the wait list. You'll be able to not only receive information about our 21-day challenge, and as well, you'll be invited to the exclusive Founders Class Q&A. And I want you to be there for it. But just know, we're about to launch this thing. We're about to next level up.
Sounds like it's coming. It's coming. I just have a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. What are some of the key benefits of joining the 21-day challenge, and how can it lead to long-term success? A lot of people like Band-Aids. Band-Aids can sometimes be a temporary solution. Someone is looking for a long-term success. How could this challenge help?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to say there are 3 specific ways that the challenge can help with you to support that focus, that goal that you're seeking. One is clarity. One of the biggest things that I heard very often was I feel like I am searching for peace, peace of mind, feeling like my life can feel clear, feeling like I have space to have clarity. And we are carving out consistent time every day for 21 days for you to invite in clarity. Because when you invite in clarity, that's when you can hear God's direction in your life. Okay. Number 2, we are taking time to be able to look at what is something that is blocking you. There are times where you have a shadow that you may not be aware of that is kind of overstayed its welcome and becoming a little bit bigger than it needs to. Your shadowness should not outshine you.
My Goliath.
Your Goliath. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to slay. All right. We're going to be slaying some Goliaths.
All right.
And the thing about the Goliath slaying is the times that I've told myself, you know what, I'm about to slay this Goliath. That was a cute choice. I told myself. And then I went back to telling myself all the negative things in my chatter mind. When you tell an accountability partner, your accountability community, I'm ready to slay this Goliath, guess what? Something shifts and something happens. Because now the Goliath doesn't just have one person to reckon with. The Goliath has a community to reckon with, right? So that's number 2. Number 3 we are calling in some tangible health benefits. Okay. We're calling in a tangible shift, right? Let's talk about that. Because if you are experiencing aches and pains in your body or in your lifestyle, whether they be a relationship that is not serving you anymore, whether that be, I want to feel like all of a sudden I'm starting to get early arthritis, but I don't know what's going on there, and I want to create a shift around that. We are going to be providing mind-body health tool to support you to feel your best self in your physical body, right? So yes, we want you to level up. and we're going to support you to level up.
Okay.
But in the meantime, we want you to be wealthy.
Okay.
Okay. So that's very, very important. Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm,
Right. So I
mhm.
just have one last question. Finally, what makes this challenge unique, and why should someone consider joining it? Why should I join today, Sigrid?
You know what? I'm going to say something that may surprise you, but I'm embodying this because I want you to do the same thing. What makes this challenge unique is because I uniquely am running it. And why I'm saying it that way is when we show up uniquely in our gifts, something powerful happens.
Oh, yes.
And something that I have done is I've taken time to really study and look at visiting Jamaica, visiting India, studying in Brooklyn, studying in San Francisco, the common themes of how 90% of things that you go to the doctor for, there are no answers. And then hand with the fact that people want and have been longing for a healthier lifestyle.
Yes.
Wanting more time to feel like you can relax and stick your feet up on the sand and be able to drink a Mai Tai. And one of the things that I have found that was missing was that I found that there weren't enough communities with people who also were moving and looking like you, where you could be accepted for all of who you are.
That's good.
And so there were some missing pieces.
Mhm.
If I show up in the room and I feel like I'm moving, one of the few, now I'm already feeling like I'm standing out. How are you helping me to feel accepted and self-accepted if I already feel like, my goodness, I'm already an imposter in the very healing community I joined? So I realized that there were some things that needed to be shifted. So number one, we're inviting in clarity. We're inviting in focus. We're improving some of the health goals you set out. And we're holding that Goliath that is here on notice.
Nice.
And at the end of the 21 days, you will be invited into our larger membership community. So this is one step in the steps of many. And I told you I'd give you a very special thing at the very end. If you reach out and say that you saw this live, you will get, as a founding class member, 50% off, because I believe in this so well.
Right.
That means that if you come and you invite a friend, the two of you will come 2 for 1. Because I believe in this movement. I believe in this happening. If you share it with someone else and they mention your name, you will automatically get 50% off, because this is a 2 for 1 opportunity. So if you've listened to the end of this,
All right.
and you have gone and hopped over to Everyday Superheroes ES coaching.com/coaching, and you apply, and then you say that you heard about this through this live, you will be able to come with one other person for the price and the investment in yourself of one person, because I believe in the power of community.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and getting this important message out. We are super excited about this 21-day challenge. I hope a lot of people will see this and say, that is exactly what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I'm going through. This is the help that I'm seeking. And they are looking for answers that I feel that you will provide. So we want to thank you for this time, and thanks everyone for joining in with us today.
Absolutely. And thank you, Miles, for taking time out of your full schedule to ask these questions and to share your own personal story. I'm sure many can resonate. Do comment below, ask questions that we might have missed, and they will be circled back to. And definitely follow and Ask Sacred on Instagram, Ask Sacred on Facebook,
Yes.
and Sacred Walker on LinkedIn. And again, that link is Everyday Superheroes coaching.com/coaching. And remember to put your self-love, self-care, and success front and center. Again, thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Ciao. Be well. See you on the top. Be well.